And welcome back to me channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And we are going to continue on in the ravages of the wasteland with a little one that doesn't quite fit in, but kinda. And it's my channel, and I want to. And that is 2009's Bitch Slap, unrated. I love this more than I can say. Now, Bitch Slap, aren't you glad I'm not monetized? Let me see if I can. I don't even know if I'm going to get away with uploading a movie titled Bitch Slap, but I will definitely complain if, I didn't name the damn thing. But anyway, if you are familiar with Russ Meyer's movies and movies like, Valley of the Dolls, Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill, Extreme biker or violence, action, exploitation movies like Faster Pussycat, then, this is the best modern day of that type that I have ever seen. I absolutely love it. It is everything. And we're not talking about no 75-minute shit either. Part of the fun of this video is going to be you watching me try to keep this goddamn story straight. It's perfectly easy to follow when you're watching it. Me telling you about it is going to be a challenge that I am up to. And let's begin. This was directed by Rick Jacobson. Like I said, it was released in 2009. It was written by Rick Jacobson, and it stars Julia Voth, Erin Cummings, and America Olivo. And, and that's, So, this movie opens, like I said, this will be a challenge. But this movie opens with whom we find out is Trixie. That's Trixie. That is Camaro. And that is Hell. Hel. Hell. So, the movie opens with us seeing Trixie crawling, all beaten up, crawling out of what looks like an inferno of mess and explosions. And then we flash to the desert, the wasteland, and a big camper trailer. And we see this fancy car pulling up, a nice little hot rod, pulls up with our three ladies in it. And out pops Hell, Trixie, and Camaro. Now, they immediately are looking around and going, this looks like a place he would have. And they go and they open up the trunk. And in the trunk, there is a man wearing nothing but Speedos with a lion on his crotch. So it's Speedos with a lion on the crotch. What they do to this man as they try to torture information out of him is quite squirm-inducing. They take him out of the boot of the car. They ask him, they keep asking him, where are they? Where are they? They want something from him. And he keeps refusing. There's a scene where she I don't see how I could ever get an erection again after she squeezes his bollocks that hard. They slam his hand in the boot lid. As they're beating him up, trying to get information. Now, this movie has a lot of flashbacks, So, all of a sudden we flash back to 4 hours earlier where we see them kidnapping him to begin with. Where Trixie, Camaro, and them are arguing about, they're arguing about not getting the coordinates from him. And Trixie says, yes, I did. I've got a photogenic memory. And she, of course, meant photographic. But that's the kind of character she plays. So she says that they did get him and all. And so you're constantly like 4 hours before, 6 hours before, 2 days before. So you're in this moment, and almost all of the action, except for the flashbacks, all of the action takes place here in this desert wasteland around this camper. So he says that he's going to tell them where to dig. So obviously they're looking for something that's buried, and he knows the coordinates. So he agrees that he's going to do it, but he ends up grabbing Cam around the throat, let me go or I'm going to kill the bitch, and that's when Trixie shoots. Well, not Trixie. Trixie's the one he's holding. But no camera. See? I told you this was going to happen. So Trixie ends up shooting right through Camaro's skirt, hitting him in the bollocks. So she blows his nuts off. Now, he wasn't all too happy with that. And they end up letting go. He ends up letting her go. And they're like, okay, so what? He's like, okay, I'll tell you. But you don't understand that I work for Pinky. And that Pinky will destroy us all if I give out this information. So we're introduced to some character called Pinky. They're like, well, we'll help you. We'll protect you. Because we're the three badass bitches on the world. So we'll help you. And then he starts trying to play them against each other. You don't know Camaro. She will betray you. So she ends up shooting him dead right there. Now, behind everybody's back, she keeps taking these little red pills. And when she takes one of these pills, she goes into a seizure. And becomes this, it's like ultra steroids or something mixed with a little cocaine. I don't know. But it sends her over the edge whenever she does it. And that's what she had just done when she shot him dead. We then see a flashback of earlier as we lead up to the camper scene, where Gage's phone rings. And then when his phone rings, they're in front of them again. They're like, oh my God, you didn't check him. And Trixie's like, well, what does that matter? And it's like, because he's got a fucking phone on him, which means whoever's calling could have traced us here through the phone. Right. So now they're worried that somebody's going to show up. Camaro then tells us a little backstory. Of course, she's talking to them, but, telling them a backstory about Pinky. We flash back to 3 days ago where Camaro is stealing a key that is needed to get into the safe that gave them the information to get here. And that's a really ugly kill. It's a guy called Black Ice. And she shows up on the scene. There's a fight. He tries to get away, and his pants are down. He tries to get away, and she tases him in the ass, which drops him. She goes over there, she searches him, gets the key, which he's got in a pick in his hair. And then, he's like, calling her all these names. She turns the motorbike, she turns it around to where basically now the back tire is right here. and then she revs the engines and she like rips his whole head and face off with the spinning tires. So that was pretty. That was an imaginative kill. So we flash back and they are digging just various holes. They're like the coordinates, like they're digging around. When we see a police car coming. So they're all freaking out. They put Gage's body back in the boot. And then the cop stops and asks if they need any help. And it's Deputy Fucks. So they're like, Deputy Fucks? And he's like, Fuchs. And they're like, okay. Well, they tell him the most outrageously ridiculous story that will have you laughing your ass off. And he's just like taking it. He's just like listening to them, mainly because he's so focused on their tits, he can't think of the ridiculous story that they're telling him. And then he says that he wants to help, but he leaves just in time because Camaro was fisting to kill his ass. We flash back to 5 nights ago, where Trixie first meets Gage at this strip club. And it's during this flashback that we also see the audience, right? There's other guys around the strip thing when she does her little show. And one of those guys that they focus in on was that deputy. So you're like, okay. Well, the deputy had to recognize her, right? But he left anyway, so you don't know. You're like, okay. So it flashes back to 3 of them digging, they're still digging the holes. Then does another flash to 7 nights ago where we see Camaro in a chick fight club where, these 2 chicks are beating the hell out of each other and Camaro is there and she meets you get introduced to this guy. He's just called Tourette's boy because he's a like punk rocker and all of that, and every few minutes he's got Tourette's syndrome, so he'll be like screaming and calling her names, and then he'll go off on this, well, you know what Tourette's people do, right? he will do that and say some really silly shit. She ends up beating the fuck out of him because she wants to know where Gage is at. So you see, we're piecing the story together in flashbacks, So now we're back to where Camaro is getting the information up to where Gage is, which would, of course, lead to the strip where Trixie meets him, which led to the flashback where she got him drunk and got into his safe. So all of it's coming together through these flashbacks. So that scene where she was getting Gage's information from Tourette's boy was excruciating because when he gave her some lip and wouldn't tell her, she grabbed battery cables. Now, they weren't hooked up to a battery, but it doesn't really matter at this point because what she does is she basically clamps his balls with the battery cables, with the jumper cables. Can you imagine? He was in a little pain there. So we go back to them digging. They take a break and drink water and have a Russ Meyer water fight where they splash each other with water and you have wet t-shirt shit. Yeah. So that's going on. We do another flashback to 10 days ago where we see Hell learning of the treasure to begin with. It comes back during the water fight. They think that they find the correct place because they see something sticking up out the ground. When they go over there to it, though, it turns out to be a guy. Now, this causes another flashback to where we see Hell on a mountainside, like getting some kind of information from some dude and killing him. And we are introduced to Phoenix, who is played by Kevin Sorbo from Hercules. He's got a cameo as Phoenix in this movie. So it turns out that, something's going on with Hell, and she's been sent on a mission. So there's something about this that is a mission of hers. She's some kind of operative. Now, while Camaro, who had freaked out, and they had actually chained Camaro up outside, Hell and Trixie are like, they end up engaging in activities, shall we say, in the camper, where Camaro comes in and catches them. That's what caused them to, that's what caused them to chain her up. Was she was not happy because it turns out that Hell and Trixie are actually a couple. She's all upset because she's afraid that she's going to be cut out of this treasure that they're looking for. And she doesn't trust them now. Meanwhile, they, Hell and Trixie, they find this like massive arsenal in that camper of a rail gun. They find a rail gun in there, and they go back outside to see if Camaro has calmed down, and also to show them, look what we got, Instead, when they get out there, they can't find her. She seems to be gone, when all of a sudden, that boy, Tourette's boy, and that weird girl that I forgot to mention her, but his sidekick at that chick fight place was, a Japanese girl with her Japanese schoolgirl thing. And she has a very neat weapon. It really reminds me of, that weapon the girl used in, the schoolgirl used in Kill Bill? She's got that, except it's a yo-yo. And the yo-yo is covered in razors. And she can, like during that scene with the, at the chick fight place, fight club, she actually tried to hit Camaro with it, and Camaro ducked it. And it dug and went like all the way through this guy, through his chest. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, they show up and they're like freaking out. They beat the hell out of all of them. They're like, they want the treasure too. So they like hold them hostage and make them keep digging. They keep Trixie held hostage, while they make Camaro and Hell keep digging the holes. Now, of course, Cam and Hell are trying to figure out how to get out of this shit, while they're over there torturing Trixie. So, we flash back during this time to 2 months ago, where we discovered that Hell and Camaro met in prison. And the day that Hell got out of prison, she approached Camaro about, because they had been making out too. So Camaro was kind of in love with her, in love with Hell as well. But so Camaro was offered the chance to get $200 million worth of diamonds. So we learned that that's what all of this is about. They are there at that cabin, that camper, to find where he has buried $200 million worth of diamonds so that they can supposedly split it and be millionaires, right? So that's where this whole thing had come from, this heist. We had learned all of that during all of these flashbacks of how we're led up to here. So Hell and Cam actually do hit something metal. And they've got two choices. Camaro doesn't want her to say anything, but they're fisting to kill Trixie. And Hell says, hey, excuse me, we found something. Which makes Camaro even more suspicious, right? So they all come over. They make the girls clear it out. And it's got a code on it. It's like a safe. So who is it, Hell? I think Hell is the one who puts in the code. And it opens right up. And when they open it, it's a stairway leading down into some kind of bunker. Now, before they can, go down there, Hell knew the code. Deputy Fuchs shows up and stops the duo from killing them, because now that it was open, they didn't need them no more. So he actually stops them killing them. A gigantic fight starts. Cam kicking the shit out of Tourette's boy. Kinky cutting up Deputy Fuchs with the razor yo-yo. Hell ends up kneecapping. She pulls out the rail gun. She goes and grabs the rail gun. So she kneecaps both Kinky, that's the girl with the razor yo-yo, and Tourette's boy. She ends up kneecapping both of them. And what happens next? Camaro ends up snapping Tourette boy's neck and then ends up blowing Kinky's head off right before she kills Deputy Fuchs. And then she goes over there and starts killing Deputy Fuchs herself, Camaro. She's taken so many of them red pills, she's completely lost her damn mind. She's also like furious at Trixie, furious at Hell. She's all paranoid, shit like that. So they end up taking Deputy Fuchs into the camper where they chain him up. And then they go back outside to deal with their shit. Now, while they're in there, though, when Trixie is in there with Deputy Fuchs, he admits that he saw her at the club and knows who she is. I mean, as far as just being a stripper goes. And that he wants to help her. He's really sweet and everything. And she's like, oh, isn't that cute? Too bad I'm a raging lesbian, right? So they tie up the deputy in the camper. He admits to seeing her in the club. Hell has now tied up Camaro once again because the bitch has just gone completely nuts, right? And then Trixie and Hell go down into the hole. So they've got the deputy secured. They've got Camaro secured, so they think. And they go down into this bunker, and it's just full of just all kinds of shit. Guns. They find the diamonds. Hell finds this 650 AD katana, master katana. And she's like, Hell, can I have this? She's like, yeah, sure, whatever, because this is what I'm here for. Not only the diamonds, but there's this bomb-looking thing. It looks like a backpack nuke is what it looks like. And so when Trixie's like, what is that, she ends up telling her that it's a type of bomb that has some kind of weird nanites in it, and if they were to ever be released on a population, it would basically infect everyone and turn them into goo, So they go down there, they get that stuff, they come back up with the diamonds. Trixie has the katana, Hell has the bomb and the diamonds, and they come to, see if Cam will calm down, because they're like, hey, Camaro, look, we have it. You can have your cut. We're cool. Everything's fine. Well, that's not going to work right, because as soon as they come back out, Camaro attacks them. And Hell and Cam end up having a face-off. Now, I don't know if I said this at the beginning. This is not a short movie. This is not some 75-minute shit you get off Vinegar Syndrome. Okay? This movie is an hour and 50 minutes long. So you have had It's damn near 2 hours of complete and total ass kicking from beginning to end. I have seen a lot of movies, including like both the Raid movies, Mayhem, what's something that might be closer or as close? The Belko Experiment. I'm trying to think of things with really intense long-term fighting that just seems to go on forever. John Wick does a lot of that, but it's still kind of quick. But there is no movie, my point, there is no movie that I can think of that has a longer one-on-one fight scene than this movie. I swear, Hell and Camaro beat the absolute living shit out of each other for 10 minutes non-stop. I have never seen, I cannot think of a fight scene that goes on so long. But it seems like two, because you're just like, ooh, oh, hell, oh no, oh that was good, oh shit. I mean, it's phenomenal, is what I'm saying. So, they have this shit going on. They're fighting. Camaro manages to get what? Sometimes I can't read my own notes. Camaro ends up knocking Hell out and then like chains her up with a bunch of chains. And then she goes over there and she beats the shit out of Trixie because she's totally like gone into Conan the Barbarian mode now. She's like took that whole bottle of pills before she fought Hell. So she's absolutely lost her fucking mind. And she beats the shit out of Trixie. And then she goes and gets a bunch of gasoline. She gets a bunch of petrol. And she like pours it all over the camper. Now you know Deputy Fuchs is still up in there. She pours it all over the ground. She pours it all over Trixie. And then she like leads it out to her car, right? And she lights that place up with a match. And that was a really good special effect. I don't know how they got that fire, because that was not CGI. I don't know how they got that fire to go across Trixie the way that it did. That was not CGI fire. And she wasn't, I don't know, you'll have to see it. How did they do that special effect? But Trixie, of course, managed to jump up, roll around in the sand, and I guess they could have had that, what is that special effects liquid that they use that burns you, but it doesn't really burn you. You can get set on fire with it, but whatever, that's technical. I'm a in front of the screen man, not a behind the scenes man. So I don't know how they do it. But she sets all that place on fire, gets the diamonds, gets in her car, and takes off. Well, Hell has managed to get out of her chains, grabs that railgun that happens to also have a bazooka missile launcher under it, blows that car all to fucking hell. So you're like, well, that's the end of Camaro, isn't it? We then get, I guess, it's like the final flashback, which is like 3 months ago. Hell is an agent sent to prison to hook up with Camaro, all to find, because Camaro is connected to Pinky, and Pinky, they know, Phoenix and his organization have learned that Pinky has bought this bomb. So this whole thing hasn't been about the diamonds. It's been about finding that bomb from Pinky, whom Gage had stole it from, whom Camaro had knew. So Hell had been sent to prison to hook up with Camaro about the diamonds heist. That's how all of this come. All of it was to get this bomb, this nano bomb. So Hell is talking to Trixie and tells Trixie all of this. And Trixie's like, I can't believe all of this was a lie. What about us? Now that's when Hell informs her that yes, all of this was a big ruse, but her love for her and their affair and romance is not. She really does love Trixie, and she is going to quit the organization, especially since that body that they found earlier that they dug up, that was Phoenix. So she's going to quit, take these diamonds now that Camaro's dead, and go off with Trixie, and they're going to live as multimillionaires on this wonderful island. Isn't that a perfect little fantasy? Fairy tales, literally. So, boom. While they're having this loving little discussion and goo-goo eyes at each other, Trixie is suddenly shot through the side. Because Camaro is like, excuse me, the bitch is back. I didn't go nowhere. You might have blew my ass up, but I'm on so much damn go-go juice that not even that could take me out. Right? So, oh no, here it comes. I'm not gonna lose it, I swear. So, they turn around and it's like, what the fuck? So Trixie's shot. Hell is standing there like, I thought I just blew your ass up. And Camaro's like a bull, like, stomping her feet, like a bull does the little. So she's like literally doing that in the sand, like, you have no idea what's supposed to go down. And they start another showdown face-off, and you're like, oh Lord, I don't think I can take no more. Because the moves and choreography is so fucking cool. Then we have then we have the moment. I swear, no matter how many times I watch this movie, I know when I watched it yesterday and was scripting it, I forgot though that moment happens. And when it happened, I just had to stop everything. I had to pause the Blu-ray player. Have you ever laughed? Have you ever had one of those laughs that takes your breath away and you start kind of getting concerned that if you don't get a grip on the laugh, that something detrimental is about to happen to your body, like you're going to pass out or something? Well, that's what this scene does to me, because, when they're doing all of this, Camaro lands a perfect nut kick on Hell, like right in the crotch, like the vajayjay meets the boot. And the second that she gets that crotch shot, you hear a kitty squeal. She kicks her in the crotch, and it goes. I can't take it. She kicks her in the crotch, and it goes meow. And I was just like, you got to stop. So she kicks her in the crotch, and you hear a kitty squeal. Right when she kicks her in the cunt, it goes meow. And I can't take it. So, after Hell knocks her completely the fuck out, you wonder if Hell is dead. Let's move on now. Let's get past this. Is Hell dead? So Camaro then goes for Trixie, and as she's trying to kill her, she's first going to R her. The word that rhymes with scape and starts with an R. And as she's pulling her panties down, she sees a tattoo that makes her like jump back and go. Now, this is because earlier in the movie, when they were talking, they like, just normal conversation. They had talked about what was the best screw that they had ever had. And Camaro said that the best screw that she had ever had was when she was at a carnival and she met up with a contortionist who had done things to her only a contortionist could do. And that was the best screw that she had ever had in her life. It was Trixie. So she's like, she was the contortionist, and she's like, oh my God, you're the person that I called the best fuck I've ever had? And that makes her like enraged even more for some reason, and she starts to kill her. But boom, you forgot about Deputy Fuchs. Well, so did I, because I thought the motherfucker was blown up in that camper. Well, there he is, looking like the cover of Army of Darkness, what's his face? Ash, with the burnt, ripped up shirt, holding, okay, well, he's holding the rail gun, and he fucking blows Camaro to death. She didn't live through that. So Deputy Fuchs uses the rail gun on Camaro. We do see the final flashback, so I guess the other one wasn't. It was the final flashbacks of 6 months ago when all of this started, when when these people dressed up like Arabs bought or sold this nanobomb to Gage, and Hell and Phoenix had came in and tried to, like a special ops, had tried to stop that sale and get the bomb. And instead, calamity and craziness ensued, and it got away. And Cam had stole the diamonds and the bomb, and Gage had stole Gage had bought that bomb, and Camaro had stole the diamonds. So that's what led up to this special ops organization ran by Phoenix, played by Kevin Sorbo, Hercules. And Hell had gotten knocked out, so that's where all of this began, was them trying to get that. So Pinky had showed up, and he is supposed to be a guy, and he had showed up with the katana and had like wasted the entire special ops team. Didn't kill Hell because she had got knocked out. I guess they thought she was dead. And she had, Camaro had gotten away with the diamonds. So Pinky had showed up, and that's how all this began. Now, all of a sudden, with Deputy Fuchs sitting there with the railgun after just saving Trixie's life, she stands up, and you expect, you don't know what to expect, right? by now you have no idea what to expect. So Hell is over there knocked out when all of a sudden Trixie kills Deputy Fuchs. And that's when Hell wakes up and sees her kill Deputy Fuchs and realizes that Trixie is Pinky. The one who's been playing the dumb blonde who happens to be a red, what do they call it? You may be a brunette, but you act like a dumb blonde. Well, that's what's been going on this whole movie. Trixie is the actual leader of this underground villainous organization. So she was the main villain all along. And it turns out that it wasn't the diamonds, because they were already hers. She didn't give a fuck. And it wasn't the bomb, because that's already hers too. It was that fucking katana. Gage had stole her fucking katana. She didn't care that he had been stealing all this shit from her. I mean, she didn't like that he had took the diamond. She didn't like that he had took the nano bomb. But it was the katana that this whole thing, from her perspective, was about. Was getting a hold of that katana. So she leaves, she tells her all of this. And then a big fancy limousine pulls up. And katana, Trixie just tells her, well, I'm leaving you alive. I mean, now that you know not to fuck with me no more. So she climbs into the limousine with the katana. And she takes off, leaving Hell just standing there going, I cannot believe that all of this happened to me. None of it was real. And like you just heard, this is a lot better to follow along when you're seeing it, but I think I did a good job of trying to keep the stories straight. But Lucy Lawless, I didn't mention it. Lucy Lawless also has a cameo in this. So you've got Xena and Hercules in this movie. Lucy Lawless makes a cameo in a really funny scene where Camaro was undercover as a nun. And Lucy Lawless is Mother Superior. And Mother Superior catches Lucy Lawless carpet munching another nun in the confessionary. That was a hilarious scene. And she jumped up and walked out, threw her habit off, wearing all this leather gear, and walks outside and got arrested. That's how she ended up in jail, to hook up with Hell. So, yeah. This movie was absolutely a flawless movie of that kind. If you like absolute, over-the-top, completely insane, bad girl action in the vein of Russ Meyer and Faster Pussycat and stuff like that, these three girls are badass. And all of the characters are good in it. Obviously, this was 2009, so this is before Kevin Sorbo lost his mind and became a right-wing lunatic. But he's good in it. Lucy Lawless is funny in it. And the action in this is absolutely phenomenal. So, Bitch Slap, unrated. You can get it on eBay. It's very reasonable. But I tried to find a Blu-ray. I did find a Canadian release I'm going to try to get, but we'll see if I manage to get it. But yeah, Bitch Slap, unrated. Love you, miss you, bye. I know. I lost it. I actually had worried about that when I was like, you do know when you get to the part of the story where you have to talk about the kitty squill, you may not be able to contain yourself, because I damn sure can't watch it. If I watch it, I'll lose it. And I'm like, well, I think it'll be all right, though, because I'll just be saying it. I won't be seeing it. And I won't be hearing it. Turns out that was incorrect. All I had to do was think of it, and I saw it and heard it in my head, and then I lost control of my giggle box in front of all of you, and I'm not a bit ashamed. So, Bitch Slap, 2009. You have to have this movie if you like crazy shit. And action. Yeah. Bitch Slap, 2009. Love You, Miss You, Bye. Have you seen it? Have you heard the kitty squeal? Don't even go there. I will see you in the next one. And I'm going to get off here before I think about that and start laughing. Love you, miss you, bye. Always remember, never forget, you're a very special person. Even if you're not one of these three crazy bitches. And I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. Wow.